welcome to this review channel. This is very exciting. Just to let you know before I go into my first review, if anybody's watching this video, I will be reviewing on this channel theatre, film, TV and books. That's new releases and old things, although with theatre it will only be new releases. But here we go. So, without further ado, my first ever review on here is The Good Little Devil and Other Tales by Pierre Gripari. This book is a selection of fairy tales, not like the traditional ones we know, but a different set of fairy tales, written and published in 1967 and then translated to English in 2013, so really recently. And I just picked this up in Waterstones like a few weeks ago because, as you can see, it was a measly £3 and there's no way I'm not going to pick up a book when it's that cheap. Also, I teach young children drama, so I thought, I wonder if any of these will be any use that I could use to perhaps sort of do some storytelling with them in the class. So I picked it up for work reasons. I really enjoyed this. However, it's very much of its time. So if you're going to read something like this, and I would highly recommend that you do, because some of the stories were really interesting and very, very different, but also still had that fairy tale element, then yeah, I would highly recommend that you pick this up. But appreciate that it was published in the 60s in France, and there's quite a lot of sexism in here. There's a little bit of I'm going to call it light racism, and what I mean by that is, I guess, you know how we have everyday sexism of just things that we don't particularly notice? I think that's what, if we were in the 60s, that's what the racism would be like. Maybe not the 60s, but like a couple of decades ago. So it's kind of like that, and it's really interesting, and I think it's really interesting that it's been published like, God, over 40 years after it came out. There are 13 stories, and my personal favourite stories were the story of Lustucru, Lustucru, if that helps, and The Fairy in the Tap, also The Witch in the Broom Cupboard. They were my three favourite stories. They were all very weird, but I thought they were really enjoyable, and I particularly loved The Fairy in the Tap, except it had like a sort of message of good people will have good things come to them and bad people have bad things come to them, and don't assume that you know somebody from your first impression. It was a really good moral. All of these have really interesting morals, except that The Fairy in the Tap, for example, I don't want to give any spoilers in case you do want to read this, but it had a bit of an extremely sexist end, which now we would look at and go, oh my god, you can't say that, but at the time, again, everything comes with, at the time, it was appropriate. I really like the artwork in this. Nobody sort of looks normal, and sort of the fairy in the tap I want to find, because she's described as being very, very pretty, and sort of they all have these great noses, and she's kind of your stereotypical fairy rather than sort of old-fashioned fairy almost, rather than like a pretty, beautiful, stunning fairy, and I think that's really interesting. The afterword is about 12 pages long, and it goes through how children understand the world perhaps better than we give them credit for, and certainly better than a lot of adults do. And it also talks about where all of these stories are set, because there are lots of families that are frequent, and it basically, the children of the village where this is set wrote these stories, and Pierre just sort of put them into one book and got them published and wrote them properly, but sort of all of the ideas were from the children, and that's so gorgeous, and it makes this so much more heartwarming, and the afterword made this whole book worth it in a way. And I want to go to Paris next year, hopefully, and I really want to visit this little town, well, this little road essentially, because it's hidden under Paris. So I'm so excited about this, and I love finding new places, and this is one of those books now that I'm going to treasure because of the world that it brings me to. So yes, it's really heartwarming and I would highly recommend it. And that's it. I will see you on Monday. I think Monday, Tuesday and Friday are going to be my upload days on here, because all the other days of the week are taken by my other two channels linked below. Ha ha ha. I have 3 reviews that will come to you next week, plus any books that I read. So let me know if you want to, whether you would prefer, which one you would prefer to see first. Once Upon a Time Series 1 TV review, an absolutely fabulous film review, which I'm going to see in a minute, or the go-between musical review from the West End. They are the 3 that are coming next week, probably. Okay, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon with another review. Bye!